Okay. Let's make sure you can. Good enough. Turn it up a little. There we go. Yeah, let's get some people in here.
Looking at me, I'm looking at you. It's easy to see what's happening. Yeah.
Welcome, boys. I see a couple of you guys getting in here. I see a couple of y'all getting in here. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's. There we go. Make sure that it's. Yeah. This is so shitty. So duct tape. All right. Oh, I see you boys there in the chats. Okay, good. Perfect timing too, because it is everyone's favorite time of the week. It is time for Live with Jack, number 88. Okay, number 88. And today I'm going to teach you literally everything you need to get your first or your next girlfriend, whatever your situation is. In fact, I'm going to be giving you guys everything that's inside of my paid course, which is normally $4.99, but today you're going to get the entire chunk of that for free. Now, obviously, I don't have enough time to go through the whole course, but if you want to truly enjoy today's stream, if you want to take it to the tip top, if you want to make this orgasmic, might I say, all you need to do is grab your glass, your mug, or your flask, a chalice, a stein, or even a cask. Raise it high and let's make a splash. It's time now for our libation bash. Toast the night and enjoy the mood. Together now we drink some booze. On your mark, let's not wait. It's cheers with chaps, so don't be late. Cheers, boys. I see you in there. Cheers, Sabi. Cheers, JJ. And Julius in the background there having his cheers. I like it. I like it. That's what I like to see. Now, I have an absolute ton of stuff to go through today. So, I'm just going to go ahead and jump straight in. If I move this over a little bit, are we still... Okay, good, because I needed a little bit more room. All right, yeah, awesome. So, I'm going to give you guys an entire roadmap to starting, creating, finding a relationship. From if you know nothing, nobody, you're just alone, totally alone, you know nothing at all about meeting women. Oh, cheers, Sierra. I'm not sure who that is. Julius, maybe you can figure it out. All right. So, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about finding, creating, building a relationship from absolute scratch. So let's jump into this because this is a big one. First thing you need to do, know thyself. Was that Plato, Socrates? Doesn't matter. Today, it's Papa Jack. And Papa Jack is telling you to know thyself. This is going to be your most important foundational step in being able to create a relationship that actually works for you. Why? Well, you're about to find out, but quick hint, and this is all going to come back later on, but if you don't know who you are, who you're looking for, what kind of relationship it is that you're trying to build, you stand no chance of being successful. You might accidentally luck into a girlfriend or a relationship, but it won't be the kind that you want. And this is how guys end up getting trapped in shit relationships and then end up getting divorce raped decades down the road because they didn't do this oh so important first step. They were just hoping that the universe would hand them the perfect thing on a platter, which isn't going to happen. So the first thing you have to do is you need to figure out which types of girls are you looking for? Which types are you looking for? Now, as you guys who are in my community know, there are 14 types of women in the world. And if you know the different types, then you can quickly identify, understand, and talk to each of the 14 types. If you don't yet know about the 14 types, by the way, this is a special offer just for my live audience tonight. We have just cut a brand new deal to get access to the complete 14 types method, and you can find the link down below. But before you even think about that, let me explain to you why the 14 types are so important. By understanding the different types, you don't just understand who you're looking for, which is critical, but you also understand who they are on a deep psychological level. You understand what makes them tick. What do they like? What do they hate? What drives them? What makes them wake up in the morning? What turns them on and what turns them off? And if you know those things, then you can immediately start finding, meeting, attracting, and keeping the types of girls that you like the best. So if that sounds like something you need in your life, which believe me, you do, you need to click the link in the description down below. It should be right at the top of the description where it says you can get access to the course here. Click that one, get the course, and you can learn all about the 14 types, because I don't have time to go over them all today. But you need to figure out which type it is that you want. And this is just as important, what kind of relationship you want to build with them. Figuring out what kind of relationship you want and making it match with the right type, right? Because if you're looking for quick hookups and one night stands, don't bother with the prude. Like, you can get that, but it's not worth your time or energy. Don't deal with that stuff. And then you're just going to leave a trail of heartbreak in your wake and bad juju, shit like that. You don't want to mess with that. Same thing on the other side. If you're looking for a long-term relationship and you're like, yeah, but Jack, I really like sluts. Like, okay, cool, man. You're welcome to try to turn a hoe into a housewife. I failed, just like millions of other dudes have failed. It's not a thing. Don't try for it. So this is why it's so important to figure out the right type and the right relationship that you're looking for. Make sure that they are congruent, that they match one another, that you are choosing long-term relationship girls for long-term relationships and short-term relationship girls for short-term relationships, right? You guys understand that. That should be self-explanatory. Now let's move on. The perfect partner blueprint. By the way, let me know in the comments here. Hello there, Nuganyano Nun. Cheers to you. So I'm curious. You guys in the chat right now, let me know. What do you guys think about this naming here, the perfect partner blueprint? Because I've been talking about it for over a year now, about the system, this thing that I did the live stream on about like 3 or 4 weeks ago, where I was detailing out exactly how you can make yourself as attractive as possible to the types of girls you want, right? But I needed a name for it because the system doesn't really get it across. So I'm going with the perfect partner blueprint for right now. Let me know in the chat below if y'all think that that's good, if it's too gay, is it too on the nose, whatever you think about it. Let me know. Anyway, your perfect partner blueprint. I went way in depth on that a few weeks back. So you can look up the live stream titled How to Be Attractive to Any Girl or to Any Woman. Can't remember exactly what we titled it. It's 3 or 4 weeks back. You can find it. I believe in you. But most importantly here, you're figuring out the who, what, when, and where. This is where you're figuring out what type of relationship you want, what type of girl you want. So that's your who, for what. And then you need to figure out your when and where. So, PPB, yeah. It's like that's almost, you know what? If I could figure out how to make the naming work, I would name it PBR, just because only the rednecks out there would get it. But anyway, you're figuring out your who, what, when, and where. Who is what type you're looking for, what kind of relationship you're looking for. What is this next part is what you're bringing to the table and what you're going to do. When and where. This is critical because you need to figure out where you're going to meet the types of girls that you're looking for. So remember, the concept here with this roadmap is you're starting from nothing. You're starting from absolute scratch. You just know what kinds of girls you want to meet. Cool. Get in their head. Think about it from their point of view. Where are these girls going to be? When are they going to be there? Because if you're looking for your prudes, they're probably not out at the nightclub on Friday night. They're definitely not out there on Tuesday night. but they're people. So that means that they're doing things during the week. They're going places. They're doing stuff. They're joining classes. They're in social groups. Where are they? Figure it out. This isn't that hard. And you can figure out more about where to find each type inside of the 14 types method. There's a link in the description below where you can get access to all of the information about all 14 of the types and figure out where to find them, as well as the keys to sealing the deal with each and every type. But the next thing you need to do is your what? This is crafting your offer. What do you bring to the table? What do you do, or what do you bring, or who are you that makes you attractive to her? What about you is going to grab her interest and make her say, oh, I need some more of that in my life? What is it? And this is difficult because most guys literally never think about this their entire life. They're like, I don't know, maybe I'm just cool, so girls like me. It's like, no, come on. Like, there are things about yourself, and you need to be brutally honest with yourself too. Say, okay, cool. Girls seem to like these things about me. They also don't like these things about me. If there are more good things than bad things, then we're already on the right track. But if there are more bad things than good things, maybe we need to work on those and turn some of those weaknesses into strengths, right? You need to be very aware of exactly what the offer is that you're making. Because if you're coming in being a hobo or a wannabe rock star, you're playing with the local bands or something, that's great. When you're looking for the short-term relationships, just fun, like here's a week fling or something. But if you're going in and you're saying, yeah, I'm looking for a long-term relationship with a sugar mama who's gonna, like, okay, cool, you can try that, but you need to be bringing the goods somewhere else. You need to be bringing all of the excitement and the fun, and you need to pick the right type for that offer. Because remember, the type is going to be the most important part of this. Once you know the type, then you know exactly what kind of offer you need to be making. You know how to craft what it is that you need to show her so that she can be attracted to you, right? And I'm going to come back to this later, but this is not about making her like you. It's not that at all. In fact, it's the complete opposite. It's creating something that allows her to like you. It allows her the room to be interested in you, to find out more about you, to be curious, to start actually looking a little bit deeper and say, you know what? I'm really curious. I want to see more of what this guy has to offer, or he's really fun. I want to spend more time with him. Okay, cool. You're letting her want that. You're allowing her the space to want that because you're giving her enough of yourself. You're creating the offer of exactly what it is that you are and what you bring to the table. Here, let's try and block this thing. So you're creating that offer in a way so that she wants that, so that she can. Next, once you've figured out all of this stuff about yourself, the next thing you need to do, approach excitement. Are you excited? I'm excited. Who loves approaching? I do. Okay, here's the thing. So many guys freak out whenever they get to this part where they're like, oh my God, you mean to get girls to talk to me, I have to like talk to them? And then they freak out, right? Like, relax. You're a human. She's a human. I'm a dude. You're a dude. She's a dude. We're all dudes. Hey, that's an old ass reference. If you get that one, you definitely grew up in the 90s. Cheers to that. So here's the thing. You need to go out and actually talk to girls. This is the part where most people give up. I mean, well, let's be honest. Most people don't even do this part. So they give up before that, but they give up because they're like, oh, but I don't want to talk to people. Like, okay, that's fine. Look, if you're not willing to change your situation, you're not. That's okay. It's okay. But your roadmap does lead you to the promised land, to the end goal. Now, you have to ask yourself, is the pain of staying the same greater than the pain of change? If so, do this, because it's not as bad as you think. Most guys get stuck in their head about approaching. And where they really get stuck is they get stuck with that approach anxiety. You see a cute girl, you get interested, you get the butterflies in your stomach, but you're like, oh no, I can't do it. And then your mind starts making up stuff. This is incredibly dangerous. If you let this ride, If the dude abides on this, you are lost because you're letting your ego take control. And whenever you let your ego take control, you need to remember this. This is super important. If you take nothing else out of this lesson, remember this one thing. Your ego is your enemy. You must kill your ego because your ego is not designed to help you improve. In fact, it's the opposite. Your ego is designed to make sure that you never try anything that might have any possible social risk whatsoever. And your ego wants you to stay and suffer in silence and accept the bullshit around you. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But understand that no decision is still a decision. Choosing to do nothing is a choice. And that's one that you're actively making by saying, but, and you're making up shit in your head, and then you're not going to do it. Instead, here's what you do. You do a mental reframe on this. Whenever you get those butterflies in your stomach, right? You get those butterflies, and you think that that's approach anxiety, that you're nervous. But let me help you with this, because the fact is that the human body's physical response to nervousness or anxiety is exactly the same as its physical response to excitement. So, are you nervous or are you excited? You actually can't tell the difference, which means it's your choice. So you can actually choose in your mind to say, oh, wow, I'm excited about this approach. I see a girl who's so interesting to me, who's so attractive to me, that I'm having a physical response to her. That means I have to approach her because my body is literally telling me to. It's my ancestors calling from on high saying, you must put some baby in that girl right there. Oh, it's a full moon now. Someone getting them pregnant tonight. Ow! You got to go for it. You got to go for it. You have to. So reframe your approach anxiety into approach excitement. Reframe that entirely. Another thing that you can do. I see you, Sabi. I see you, Sabi. I understand you, buddy. Another thing you can do is the 3-second rule. You see a girl, you think you want to approach her, here's what you do. You put your hand up and you go 3, 2, 1, and then you approach. No matter what. No matter what. That's just what you do. You can set a trigger for yourself. Setting yourself a physical trigger. Sabi, I know you've studied enough science to understand what classical conditioning is, right? If you guys know what classical conditioning is, think about like Pavlov and his dog with the bell, right? You hold the treat out, you ring the bell, the dog salivates, and then eventually, even without the treat, you ring the bell, the dog salivates, right? Classical conditioning. You literally train your body and your brain to have a response every single time, no matter what. So use it. You have all this knowledge, Sabi. Use it. Yeah? Use it to help yourself. Use classical conditioning on yourself. Train yourself. Create some trigger. Could be counting 3, 2, 1. Could be snapping your fingers. It could be singing yourself a little ditty. Do, 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 do. Papa Jack told me to. Whatever. I don't care. I don't care what your trigger is. Listen, there was a guy who I coached in person once. This was a couple of years back. And his trigger that he set for himself was every time he saw a hot girl and he got nervous and he didn't want to do the approach, he would lean back and slap his ass and then go do the approach. Okay, cool. I wouldn't personally recommend it. Going to be a little bit strange in public, but hey, if it works for you, it works for you. It doesn't matter what it is. You set your own trigger. You figure it out, but you need to find some way. You can also use positive or negative reinforcement. Cards used this back in the day. He set himself a target for, I have to do 5 approaches every day. And if I miss my target, then I'm going to donate $10 to charity for every single one that I missed. So if I go out the whole day and I do 0 approaches, I'm donating $50 to charity tonight. Okay, now that gives a serious motivation to do those approaches, no matter what. That's a negative reinforcement technique. You can use that. Another thing you could do is say positive reinforcement, right? Say, okay, all right, Papa Jack, you can't have any beer until you do all 5 of your first approaches. Then, after you have your beer, if you want to do some more approaches, you can earn more beer. All right, cool. That's positive reinforcement. You can use those as well. Find what works for you, but you need to figure out how to go out and do these approaches one way or another. Figure it out. Another thing that you need to understand, and this is why doing the approaches is so important, is because this is iterative learning. This is iterative learning. Whenever you try something, then you get instant feedback on how you did. Now, if you only have one sample size, or rather, if you have a sample size of one, your data is bullshit. It's worthless, right? Sabi, I'm talking to you right now. You work in data analysis, don't you? Like, isn't that your thing? Okay, so if you go out and you do an approach, what's your sample size? One. So what's your data? It's bullshit. It's nothing. It's absolute nothing. So how do you improve your data set? Well, you get a larger sample size. Not only do you get a larger sample size so that you can start figuring out, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Is it just my approach is wrong? Okay, well, if you approach 15 different girls and every single one of them hard next to you the second you walk up, there's something wrong with your approach, right? But if half of them are giving you the time of day when you approach, but then they're still walking away after that, I'm like, okay, cool. So my approach is not perfect, but also my conversation is not perfect. So I see like I'm better than nothing, but I still need to work on improving the approach. I can tweak that a little bit, see if I can improve my conversion rate there, but then also start working on my conversation a little bit, which we're going to get to in a minute. But the point is, this is iterative learning. Every chance that you get, every approach that you do, you're learning, whether you're paying attention or not, even if you're just learning subconsciously, you're paying attention and you're learning about these things. You're getting instant feedback and you're getting as much of it as you approach. So, obviously, the more approaches you do, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get, right? Obviously. So think about it this way. You need to figure out what your time horizon is. Because, yes, actually, I'll start making an analysis when I get enough data on approaches. Well, why don't you have enough data yet? Why don't you have enough data yet? How long have I been talking to you about this? Yeah? Right. So collect your data. Go. But wait, not yet. Because you got to finish the stream first. After the stream, I give you permission to, at like 11 or 11:30, whenever we finish up, then go out and collect some data. It's Thirsty Thursday, buddy. Somebody's out and about at Santa Claus, aren't they? Are they even still open? I imagine they are. I don't know if they're cool anymore. But anyway, unimportant. This is the next part of this. So we went into the iterative learning. Here's the thing. You need to figure out what your time horizon is. How big is your pain right now? How big is your pain of not being in a relationship? Of not being here where you're getting long-term success? How big is your pain? If your pain is high, then you want your time horizon for solving this to be as short as possible, right? Okay, cool. So here's the thing. You put me up against the best basketball player in the world. Right? Put me against MJ, right? So put me against MJ. How many shots will it take for me to get one past him and get it in? A lot, right? But on a long enough time horizon, I'll sink one. And then my second shot will be a shorter time horizon because I will have learned from things that didn't work or from things that did. And then my next one will be an even shorter time horizon until, again, if we're looking at infinite time, then eventually, I'll be much closer to parity with it, right? So this is because of iterative learning, because every time that you do something, you're getting instant feedback and you're figuring out what you did right or what you did wrong, what you could have done better, right? So you need to figure out what your time horizon is, because if you want to do this quickly, then what do? Well, you just take more shots on goal as quickly as possible, because that way you learn more and you get more instant feedback. Now, imagine if we took that exact same example, but instead of me just standing on the court and trying to figure out how to get the shot through, instead of that, I'm just taking one shot a week against him. How long is it going to take me to get that one? Honestly, probably never. Because if I'm only taking one shot a week, even if I learn lessons from it every time, I'm not learning enough and it's not sticking with me, and I'm not putting that into practice immediately. So it's not reinforcing the lesson. So you need to practice it repeatedly and as quickly as possible. So figure out what your time horizon is. How quickly do you want to be here? Because if you want to be here in, I don't know, I guess just whenever, maybe like in 30, 40 years, okay, cool. Then do your one approach a week. But if you want to get here like in a couple of weeks, iterative learning. Go out, do your approaches as much as you can, as quickly as you can. Doesn't matter where, right? Doesn't matter. Do your approaches everywhere. But this is the where kind of matters. The where kind of matters. The where kind of matters whenever you're talking about finding the right girl for the right type of relationship. If you can't get over your AA, then you need to break that before you worry about any of the other stuff. So if you're worried about your approach anxiety, things like that, then the first thing you need to do is break that entirely by just doing as many approaches as you can. And it doesn't matter who. You should be chatting up the old lady who's rolling up your kimbap sabi. You should be just everywhere you go. Anytime you see somebody who is of the female persuasion, you should be like, hey, you having a good day? How's it going? Right? Or whatever. You should open this up, right? Now we're about to get into the actual conversation and all that stuff. But you should be out there just approaching like a madman. Once you get past the AA, then you can actually start applying the lessons that you've learned from that. Because if you can't do this, then none of this matters, right? Then you're just going to walk around being a beta orbiter and just hoping that maybe she'll pay attention to you. You don't want that. So you have to actually learn these skills. Go through the pain of learning them. Because it's absolutely worth it. It's 100% worth it. It's not even close. But you figure out the where, so that once you're able to get past that and then you know how to do the approaches, then you're in the right places and you're meeting the right people. You're giving yourself more shots on goal of the exact types of girls that you want, who are most likely to be receptive to your style because you've crafted your offer around them and interested in the type of relationship that you wanted. So the where does matter once you figure all this stuff out. Now, let's move on to conquering conversation. This is part 3. So you go up, you do your approaches. You have broken through AA. You have no more anxiety, and you're just an approaching machine. But they aren't very responsive. Uh-oh. Okay, cool. So what do we do with that? Well, we need to fix the conversation, right? So this is important. Your 4-step process. This is your key. Attention, interest, attraction, decision, right? AAD. I stole it from the Alec Baldwin speech, but I had to switch it around because his was about sales and this is not. We needed attraction in here. It's very important. But attention. Do you do the approach and do you get her attention? If so, check. You're good. Now, interest. Does she stick around for at least 30 seconds talking to you? If so, cool. Check. You got her attention. Attraction. Is she responding to you? Is she responding to the things that you're saying? Is she laughing at your jokes? Is she interested? Is she leaning in? Does she want to know more? If so, check. You got the attention or the attraction. And D, decision. Whenever you go to ask for her number, does she give it to you or Kakao or whatever? Don't go for Instagram. Don't do that. Don't get a social media contact. It's not worth it. I guarantee you, 100%, 1,000% guaranteed that if you get a girl's number or Kakao, you have at least a 10 times higher chance of getting her out on a date than if you get her Instagram or her Facebook or her Snapchat or something weird like that. Well, actually, I don't know about Snapchat. Isn't the one that the girls use to send their booby pictures, but then it gets deleted? Maybe, but probably not. At least not for you, Sabi. For you, Sabi, this doesn't count because the girls in Korea don't use Snapchat, and they definitely don't use it to send their boobies. At least not often enough for it to count. If they're gonna send it on Snapchat, they'll send it on Kakao. They don't really care that much. So, no, get her Kakao or get her phone number or some other chatting app. WhatsApp is fine. Viber is fine. You want it to be on a specifically chatting app, not Instagram, not Facebook, not her fucking Tinder profile or anything weird like that. None of that. Sorry, I have to lubricate. I'm going through a lot. All right, so you need to be opening up. Now, what's your opening line? What's Papa Jack's patented opening line that is the very best opening line? I have tried over 10,000 approaches on 10,000 plus different women. And do you know what one opener works the very best compared to literally anything else? Hey, my name's Jack. It's nice to meet you. What's your name? That's it. It's simple. Now you might be thinking to yourself, okay, but Papa Jack, listen, I have this idea. I want to compliment her earrings. Okay, cool. I approve of that. Awesome. You can open with that, or, and hear me out, or, hey, my name's Jack. It's nice to meet you. What's your name? Oh, that's so cool. By the way, I just wanted to tell you, I really love your earrings. Those are so neat. What are they? You got the Lucky Charms in there? I love Lucky Charms. You can use that too. And now you already know her name instead of walking up to her and being like, hey, I love those earrings. Those are so cool. What do you got in there? Oh, by the way, my name's Jack. What's your name? Do you see how that second one seems more awkward, more forced, less confident, less congruent than the first one? So stop overthinking it. Practice it. Actually practice it in front of a mirror. Stand in front of a mirror and say, hey, my name's, put your name here. Don't say Jack. It's nice to meet you. What's your name? Practice that. Practice your facial expressions. Practice holding your hand out. Practice the whole thing. If you feel stupid doing it, imagine how stupid I feel doing it in front of a camera of myself to an audience on the internet while my wife listens in. Okay? So your situation isn't going to be as weird as that. There you go. Feel better? Awesome. So that's your opener. You're definitely going to get her attention. Then you need to figure out how to create her interest and how to build attraction. Here's the thing. You create commonality. Too many guys get hung up about like, how do I create a conversation? What do I say? Okay, it's very, very easy. It's very easy. You just find something that's in common. So commenting on her earrings is a commonality. Why? Because you like her earrings. But guess what? She likes her earrings too. That's why she chose them. Oh my God, wow. Commenting on the place where you are right now. Oh, that's a commonality. Why? Because you're here and she's here. Wow. It really isn't hard. You can create commonality. Even if you have nothing in common that you can think of, there's nothing on your mind, absolutely nothing, then just ask her a question that everybody says yes to. Say, hey, by the way, weird question. Do you like ice cream? You like ice cream, right? Everybody loves ice cream, right? Cool. Awesome. Man, you know what? I know this sounds a little bit strange, but for some reason, recently I've been craving ice cream. And specifically, I've had this craving for like mint chocolate chip ice cream. No, before you ask, I'm not pregnant. I know it might look it. That's all beer. But seriously, what's your favorite kind of ice cream? Oh, that's interesting. Is that because it was your favorite as a kid? No, it's not. Then what was your favorite as a kid? Okay, cool. I've just created a tiny little conversation here where I can build interest. Now, not attraction, not yet, but I can build interest into a conversation by just finding some kind of common ground. And then you can jump into like, oh, well, here's what I'm doing today. Here's what's going on. Or I'm out to do this thing. Or what's going on with you? Oh, that's really cool. And then you create a conversation, a back and forth, a flow. We're going to get a little bit more into the push-pull later on. But this is the part where you create attraction. If you want to know more about how to create attraction, you have to understand the different types. Because each type is attracted to different things, to different aspects of your personality, to different parts of who you are. So if you want to know how to build the attraction, then you need to click the link in the description below right now, get instant access right now to the 14 types method, and learn about exactly what the keys to sealing the deal are with all 14 different types so that you can pick your favorite and actually start attracting her now. Fourth, you get her to the decision point. This is where you shit or get off the pot. This is where you fuck or walk. This is where the magic happens. You get her number, you get her contact, you trade your details, right? Okay, cool. But This is the mistake that most guys make. Most guys say, hey, I really like talking to you. Maybe you can hang out with me some more. Maybe we can do something sometime. Can we can you just give me some attention in return for nothing? Huh? What do you think? Okay, so give me your number, right? Bullshit. That's awful. What a terrible offer. You're asking her to give to you her attention, her time, her focus, her energy in exchange for what? Is it a good deed? Right? What's your offer here? Your offer is shit, right? It's literally nothing. So you're just asking for a handout. No, use the commonality that you created as your reason. Easy. So if you went with ice cream, be like, hey, listen, now that I know your favorite ice cream and you know mine, I feel like we should definitely go on an ice cream date because I still have that craving. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to drop your number into my phone right here, and then I'll text you about setting up the details. We can figure out when and where. Or if everything's going really well right there, you can take her to the ice cream place right now. Especially if you're in Korea, there's a Baskin Robbins around every corner, man. There are almost as many Baskin Robbins as there are Starbucks, right? Take her, go, do it. Or get her number and set up the date. But this is important. You want to set the date as quickly as possible. Don't fuck around. Quit chit-chatting with girls. You get the girl's number. I've seen dozens of guys do this. They'll go out and they'll tell me Jack, you'd be so proud of me. I got this girl's number 3 days ago and we've been talking back and forth and it's awesome and we're having such a great conversation. And I'm like, okay, cool. So when's the date? And then he's like, oh, well, I haven't set it up yet. What are you doing? You've been talking for 3 days and you haven't even set up the date? Why? What's the point? What can you possibly say over text that you can't say on the date? Nothing, right? So in that case, why haven't you set up the date? Are you not interested in her? Are you not attracted to her? No? Okay, you are, right? Cool. So then why haven't you set up the date? You're afraid that she's not attracted to you. You're afraid she's not interested in you. She gave you her number. Why do you think she gave you her number? You gave her a reason, right? If you gave her a reason to set up the date, or you gave her a reason to get the number, and it was to set up the date, and then you just didn't, why? She's right there. Yeah, she's interested. She gave you everything. All you have to do is set the date. So stop chit-chatting. Stop it. Stop. Don't. There's no need. Slap the man upside his head. Yes, absolutely, Sierra. Slap the man upside his head. If she gives you your number, she's interested. If you talk to her, if you just chit-chat through text, here's a golden rule for all of you guys to remember. You cannot increase attraction through text messages, but you can lose attraction through text messages. So stop chit-chatting through messages, set up the date. Now, I understand for some of you guys who are out there in the hood, you're out there in the sticks, and you're like, okay, cool. Well, listen, I got this girl's number, but she lives 2 hours away, and I'm not going to be able to see her for 2 weeks. Okay, cool. Still, set the date first. Set the date, make sure that it's all blocked out, and then you can talk a little bit, but keep it minimal through text. If you want to do phone calls or you want to do FaceTime, video calls, I'm okay with that if because of bad logistics and circumstances, you have to wait a long time for the date. That's fine. Kind of makes sense to keep the interest high. But ideally, you want to set the date and then make that as soon as possible and make it happen. Now, let's move on to step 4. Let's take it to the next level. Remember, because we're going for a relationship. We're not just going for a date. So we've gone through understanding yourself. We've gone through figuring out how to approach the girl. We've gone through how to actually have the conversation when you go up to her. And now that you've met her, you approached her, you met her, you talked to her, you got the number, you got the date. Awesome. It's all set up and you're not chit-chatting through text. Awesome. I'm so proud of you, but you aren't done yet. No, you're not, because you're not in a relationship. So far, you're still in a relationship with Rosie Palm. So how do we fix this? Well, last week, I spent about half an hour telling you exactly how to always guarantee a second date, how to create your perfect date routine, how to be the one she remembers. So I'm not even going to tell you about it today because the whole lesson is just last week. It's literally Live with Jack number 87. This is number 88. It's all right there. If you didn't watch it last week, shame on you. But you can still go back and see it because it's still there. So figure out how to set up the date that actually works. Next, this is an important thing. You need to figure out the push-pull dynamics, the masculine and feminine dynamics. This is a really important part of actually creating a relationship. There is a certain amount of masculinity and a certain amount of femininity that need to exist in any relationship. The amount of it is usually about the same, but who brings how much is very dependent on each individual person. I get that. Some men are more masculine, some men are more feminine, some women are more masculine, some women are more feminine. And I'm not saying that in a pejorative way. It's not a negative thing necessarily, right? It's just kind of part of who we are, how we act. It's our different personalities. That's all cool. But here's the thing. You still need to bring masculinity to the table, because when you don't, she has to step up and own that. And I've seen so many guys who complain. They're like, oh, women these days are all so masculine and they're so aggressive. And I'm like, what are you then? Right? Because if you're just being passive and you're like, so what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. Oh, yeah, you can't do Tuesday. Oh, no, that's fine. Oh, yeah, I can. Don't worry, I can work my schedule. I can figure it out. We can, anything, right? Like, it's pure feminine energy, right? Stop that. You need to figure out how to actually bring masculine energy for yourself. But here's the other part to it, is the push-pull dynamic. So you want to be able to push into something, to create a little bit of tension, to make something feel a little bit more sincere or a little bit more intense than maybe even it needs to. But then to be able to pull back and be a little bit more lighthearted right after that. To push and then to pull. And the same thing with your actual physical body, with your interactions, with your escalations, with your sexuality, all of that stuff. You need to figure out how to push and how to pull. You are the tide. You are like water. You are unpredictable. You are capricious. You get to choose exactly what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. And she never knows what is coming next. Why? Because you're the one in control, because you're leading it, because you are pushing into it, because you're pulling back out of it, because you're then allowing her space to actually play her role. Think of it like a dance. If you've ever learned dance, if you've ever learned salsa dance or tango or swing dance or anything else, then you'll understand what I mean by the push-pull, by the leadership part of things. Because in actually, I can't think of a dance where the woman leads. There might be one. There might be some like some feminist dance where they're like, do the jitterbug or some weird shit where the girls lead. I don't know, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. However, the man leads in dance. Oh, what's up, Merv, Denise, Comert, Mean? Cheers. Did you bring a drink? You better. Cheers. So back to the push-pull, the leadership. The man leads the dance, but he leaves enough room for the woman to dance. You have to lead the way. You have to show her where you're going. You have to indicate where you're going to go and lead her there. But you leave her the space to flow, to actually fill in her part. Dance is actually a really good analogy for this because both sides of it come quite naturally. Oh, is that you, Nene? Oh, look at you joining in the party. Yeah, I'll see you at pool. Denise, you should join in for this stream as well. You're learning some good stuff. So, you need to learn how to do that. And actually, learning to dance, taking dance classes or lessons can be really helpful, not just for this, but also if you're thinking about about where to meet girls, you haven't thought about dance classes yet, have you? Those are so good. So you go out there and you learn how to lead, but also leave them room. You're not controlling everything. You aren't holding her tight and moving her in certain ways. It doesn't work that way. But also, you can't just go limp. right? You need to learn how to lead, how to hold yourself, how to give her space, how to push, how to pull, how to create that space that allows her to fulfill her roles, her feminine roles, and that also allows her the room to develop more attraction for you. This is going to be very critical. Your space that you create here is absolutely critical to developing a good relationship. You don't want to smother it. If you jump all the way in on it and you're like, okay, cool. Oh, you came out with me on a date. Wow, I really like you so much. Oh my God, you're the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I love you. Dead. Dead in the water, man. Absolutely dead. You can't do that. You have to lean back. Give it space. Give her your full attention and focus when you're on the date. But when you're not, she's second priority to literally whatever the fuck you're doing. Doesn't matter what. Doesn't matter what. You're hanging out with friends. You're playing pool with Jack and Denise. You're just sitting at home, drinking beer and watching Cartoon Network. I don't care what you're doing. The phone is second priority to whatever is happening in real life. It always is, no matter what. That mindset, that attitude is going to give you the ability to give it space, to not smother it, to allow her the room to be curious, to want to know more about you, to wonder about you, to develop that attraction and that desire, that lust for, oh my God, why isn't he paying attention to me? Wow, I think I really like him. Oh my God, he hasn't answered for like 2 hours. Is he talking to other girls? No, maybe, but is he? I don't know. Leave her the room to think, to feel. Let yourself be mysterious. You don't have to do much. Exactly right. Sierra knows what's up. Game over. Yeah, you smother a girl, you're dead. Absolutely. So this is the next bit on the same point here, which is some people are going to get mad at this, but this is the absolute truth. Women are the gatekeepers of sex. Men are the gatekeepers of commitment. Men, would you respect a woman who came up to you and said, "Hi, my name is Sally. I'd really like to fuck." You're like, oh, I mean, like, I'll accept, but not gonna respect you, right? Because you're absconding from your duty. You're just saying like, "Yeah, I'm not gatekeeping to you or probably to anyone else," is what you assume, right? Okay. And like, actually, your first response might be, how much? Because that's the assumption. It's like, oh, okay. So any woman who would just freely offer up sex that easily, we assume might be a working girl, right? Okay, cool. Now, flip that on its head. That's how women feel when men offer up commitment in that same way. Whenever a guy goes on a date with a girl and he's like, "I really, really like you. Like, you're so cool. Like, can we like be boyfriend and girlfriend? Can we like hold hands and stuff? Like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you doing your duty?" You have to actually guard your commitment very carefully. This means even when you're feeling it, and I understand it. Guys get that feeling of like, but I want this to be solid. I want this to be sure. I want to have this commitment. I want to build this relationship. Your feeling of that is about as strong as her feelings of, I really just want a dick in me. But she doesn't do that because, or at least you hope she doesn't. Depends on what type of girl you chose, doesn't it? What kind of relationship you chose. But if you're actually going for a long-term relationship, a girlfriend, right? Then if you're not going for a girlfriend, if you're just going for a one-night stand, then like none of this matters, right? Maybe this top one, being the one she remembers, that counts. You get repeat business that way. But this bottom stuff, whatever. But look, if you're actually trying to get a girlfriend, your first or your next, doesn't matter. You can't be the one who's up there like putting it up and being like, "Can you please take this responsibility off my hands?" You can't do that. You are responsible for this. The same way that she's responsible for guarding her junk, you're responsible for guarding your commitment. So relax. You're not in a hurry. Everything's okay. She's still around. She's still talking to you. If you guys haven't seen my bang flow chart yet, I'm sure it's up there somewhere. I don't know. Maybe we can find it and put it in the Discord community. But it's definitely inside of the Types of Women course, or the 14 Types Method course. So if you haven't yet, you can click the link in the description right now and get access to the 14 Types Method today, where you can learn about all 14 different types of women, which types are best for which types of relationships, and where to meet all of them, and the keys to sealing the deals with them, as well as learning all the pros and cons to each different type. Now, as to long-term success, here's what you do. Sierra, it is in the link. Julius, can you check for me in the YouTube that it should be like at the top of the description on the YouTube page? It should say like get access to the 14 Types Method here with a link. But if not, we'll figure it out. And Sierra, not bad manners, just good beer. That's what my mom always said. Including the gimme the sausage type. The slut? Yeah, the slut's in there. Absolutely, she's in there. Oh, there you go. There's the link in the comments as well. Perfect. So, as far as long-term success goes, here's what you want to do. If you want a relationship to work long-term, your biggest key to that is, let me get the right color up here, is actually going to be this thing right here. Because no matter how long you're in a relationship, she still wants you to play your part. She wants you to play your role. She wants you to lead her. She wants you to show her the way. She wants you to make sure that everything is good. But also, you need to give her the room to be feminine. And also, you still need to give it enough space that she's curious, that she's interested, that there's still a little bit of mystery in it, that there's still a little bit of romance, but creating opportunities, creating situations. And if you truly and deeply understand her type and who she is on a deeply personal and psychological level, this part becomes not just easy, but it becomes natural and it becomes truly enjoyable. And it's a ton of fun because you're both enjoying the ride. And that is the real goal in the relationship. It's not just to get there, right? It's not like a touchdown and then like, cool, I hit it. That's it. That's the end zone. It's not that at all. It's a journey that you're going to take together. And it's one that's fun, that's invigorating, that's exciting, that never ends. I mean, well, eventually it ends. Like, I'm definitely going to die of liver disease before she does. She's a prude. But neither here nor there. So with all of that said, the Bang flow chart, I will try to find the Bang flow chart for you, Sierra. Julius, if you can open up my blog and actually, you know what? I'll do it. I'll do it for you right now, Sierra. Hold on just one second. I'll get you that Bang flow chart. We're going to go over here and wait, I just saw it. I'm going to get you a link if my internet is working right. Just a moment, please. Okay. Let's get you the Bang flow chart. The efforts and the links I go to for my lovely, lovely viewers. By the way, Sierra, do we know each other or are you one of our newer subscribers? We might know each other. We might not. I'm not sure. But either way, welcome. Welcome to the group. Okay. Copy and then restream. Here you go. There's the Bang flow chart. But this the situation that I was talking about isn't specifically about banging like the flowchart is. It's more just about how you create the. Where was I talking about that? On the push-pull dynamic? Maybe. With like trying things, with pushing in, with pulling out. I can't remember exactly where I mentioned that, but you guys who are watching, you know where it is. So, with all of that said, that was one hell of a lesson. You guys just learned a shitload. And I'm going to bring in Julius, and we're going to move into the live Q&A section. Julius, I'm going to send you the questions that we have so that I can move to the Papa Bear chair over there, and you can read these out for us, and we can jump into them. Sound good? Awesome. Let's go ahead and bring him in.
Hey guys.
Here we are. And then let's move down here to the Papa Bear chair. You guys get the long view, and the one that's recorded for posteriors gets the up close and personal side of things. However, I do have one major issue right now, which is I'm out of beer. I'm gonna get a fresh one. While I'm doing that, can you go ahead and read the first question for us so that we can jump straight into it?
Yeah, no problem. Let's see. If you're on a date with a girl and you think she might make a good girlfriend, do you change anything about your approach? Oh, guess he's busy. I mean, I guess I could go ahead and answer. If you're if you see potential in this one, this is something that you could go long term with her. I guess the best way to know that is by actually talking to her. And if you actually see some potential in her, try not to, one, I guess don't lie to her in any like really substantial way, but like lying about your age or whatever. Be straight with her. Try not to reveal too much about yourself and try to get her out on a date with you without being a pervy guy and trying to take her on the same night you meet her.
Yeah, a bit. Like if
you're doing long term, I think you need to play as safe as you can while also trying to make moves to go out with her, let her know that you're romantically into her.
Yeah, talking to it well, depends on what type you're looking for, doesn't it? Right?
That is also true. Because I mean, I've also been in long-term relationships with the girls I, nailed the first day we met. So
right, exactly. And so it's very differentiating about the types and stuff like that.
It depends on what you prioritize, of course.
Before you get out on the first date, you should have a good idea of what type of girl you think this is and what type of relationship you're trying to create with her. Right? And then you play to that thing. Now, that doesn't mean that you play it safe or that you go ultra conservative or anything like that.
But I think that also comes into play with the kind of girl you're looking for too.
I mean, it does, but oh, hey there, hey boys.
Because playing it safe to me isn't being ultra conservative. It's just maybe toning down certain aspects of the way you would normally approach someone if you're just trying to just have a quick thing,
I feel like if you know who you're talking to, right? So if you've learned the types and you know who you're talking to, then you don't have to tone anything down. It's just knowing which parts of yourself to show her. Like, I don't need to show everybody every part of myself. That's impractical. That's not realistic. And so instead, I choose which parts I'm going to talk about or which parts I'm going to show. If I'm talking to an attention whore, then maybe I casually drop in my 10-year career in the music industry or something like that. Whereas other girls, I'm like, okay, well, it's not relevant to them. So I don't really care. I'm not even going to put this in here. Right. Or if I'm talking to a hofo show, then maybe I'm going to talk about being a dating coach, and I'm going to talk about like, yeah, listen, you're literally the girl that most guys' mothers and me warned them about, right? Like I might bring that in. I might show her that part of myself. It depends.
Right, but it's also more about trying to make one of those your girlfriend too. So how, like, if you want the hoe for whatever reason, how would you turn this one into your girlfriend
Well,
or the
I
hook one?
think that well, what I'm trying to get at here, and I'm just not communicating it well enough, is you should essentially be showing your personality at an 11, but on a different band for each different type of girl. Like if you think about like the light spectrum, right, where you're going from what is it, like infrared to ultraviolet, right? And like you're just looking across this whole spectrum, but your intensity is 100%. You're just choosing where to land it. So am I showing her my humor and my empathy? Am I showing her my storytelling ability? Am I showing her my listening ability? Am I showing her my wit? Am I showing her my party side? Am I showing her my energy level? Or am I showing her that I know all the people? Or which parts of myself am I showing? But whatever part I'm showing, I want to be giving that 100%. I just want to focus it in the right place for the right type of girl, right? So like if, for example, if I took Lady North out on our first date and I had wanted to uh, take her around to all the cool bars that I know and show her like my high status because I know all the different bartenders and the bouncers and stuff, she wouldn't be impressed. She would be super fucking turned off, right? That's not her scene at all. So I didn't do that. But there are girls that I would do that for, and the no matter what your goal is, whether it's to hook up that night or to make her your girlfriend or whatever else, if you've nailed the types, then you know what to do, because the path to any outcome is the same, right? It's the exact same path. And then you get to the ending and you get to choose. It's basically like Mass Effect, where like, oh yeah, you're making choices throughout, but you're not, right? It's all leading you to the same ending. And then you've got like what, 3 choices for the ending. That's it. But either way, no matter what you're doing as you go through, you get to the end. And if you're doing it right, you still have all the same choices. Does that kind of make sense?
I mean, I think it does if you apply it, say, to whether you're trying to not or get a girlfriend at the same time too. You know what I mean? Because
Well,
like for instance, like, okay, like use Lady North as a great example. I think that's good. You wouldn't take her to those bars and all that stuff. You would do things that you would maybe tone down the party aspect of yourself while raising certain other aspects of yourself, like your musical ability,
sure.
or maybe if you know some good restaurants, right?
Yeah,
That's what I've done before, right? I mean, I'm not a musical guy, but I'm like, oh well, I know a really good Mexican place or a Brazilian
sure.
place, or there's this place we could go to, this museum. I don't know, things I like that I know she would probably like too.
For
After
her
talking to her,
type, yeah. Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
like,
See,
so here's
but
the thing: is that
I don't usually choose a girl and go like, oh, she fits this type, right? I just go, okay, well, obviously she doesn't like, I don't know, Xbox. I'm not going to talk about how the game passed, right? That's not going to work. I'll
right?
reveal that later on when we're
Sure.
together. But first date, you're just trying to impress her and keep her interested while not revealing too much about yourself, so that when you do go out with her, you do reveal more things about yourself that she may be interested in, that you kind of keep her hooked in while
Yeah.
doing things that play to your strengths and her interests at the same
Yes.
time.
Exactly right.
Sorry.
But I feel like I'm gonna do that whether I want to hook up with her or make her my girlfriend. right? Like I'm still going to, the pathway is still the same.
Yes, I think good point.
Right. Like
But I think the
that's kind of
difference
what I'm
is
saying
here
is
too.
figure out like, right.
I
Well,
think where we disagree,
uh,
we agree on the same. I think what we haven't talked about is what we do at the end when we finally beat Mass Effect, or get the girl in the bag. It's, do we pursue, or do we just disappear, sabotage it, make her go away? Do certain things like that.
I, hey, stop it.
Jeez.
Bento's got the zoomies and it's
Uh,
pissing Simba off.
he's being a cranky old man.
Yeah, he is. He's a cranky old man. No, listen. In my experience, women will never punish a guy for trying for sex, but they will punish you for not trying, for not going for it. And so if the date is going well and you think like, oh well, I want to have a second date, and if you think she's feeling the same way, you should go for it. Because she's a grown-up, right? She can make her own decisions. But when you go for it, this is communicating to her a few different things. First, it's communicating that you are viewing this seriously as a man and woman. There's no room for friend zone talk even possible here if you're inviting her back to your place after 3 or 4 drinks, right? Like that's not even a consideration. But second is showing dead confidence. You are absolutely owning it, and you're not mincing words about it. You're not being like, oh well, like maybe we can go to another place. It's like,
Can I sit
a
next to
friend.
you?
Like you're
No, absolutely.
absolutely owning it. But then also, if you can take the rejection there, because remember what I said earlier about being gatekeepers, right? And so if you can take the rejection there, because if this is actually a good girl who you want for a long-term relationship, then she's probably going to reject it. And like, that's fine. But if you take that well and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, by the way, what are you doing tomorrow? We should hang out, right? Or like and then you just jump right back into it. You don't get knocked down. You don't get worried about it, right?
Mm.
I feel like it communicates a lot of different positive things that you went for it, and it removes any doubt. Now, I'm sure that there is a girl out there in the world who has gotten mad at a dude who she was interested in whenever he tried to have sex too early. That has probably happened 2 times ever, right? Like that's it's not a thing, right? If she's interested in you, she wants you to want her, right? That makes obvious sense.
Mm-hmm.
You want her to want you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she might pump the brakes a little bit and say, oh, we will get there. We'll get there. Not yet, but we'll get there. Okay, that's fine. That's perfectly acceptable. But if you don't go for it when you could have, then what does that say?
Well, I think that when I usually say play it safe, it's kind of going on like play a more patient game rather than just trying to rush into it. So I would go like, okay, well, this is maybe someone I'd want to go out like on. I mean, of course, first date would be great. I won't push for it as hard as I normally would with someone that maybe I just met that night.
Exactly.
So I would go like 2 days, 3 dates.
Like you can choose how much you're pushing because you can feel it in the moment of like, depending on how the date's gone, depending on how your escalation is going, how much you built up, right? Because if you're going from 0 to 90 in 1.3, where you're like, oh, we haven't touched, we haven't kissed, we haven't done anything, but I'm just inviting you back to my place, and it's like, wah! Right? Like you do not pass go, do not collect $200. You've done it wrong. But if you're building it a little bit slower, or you just haven't had the opportunities, or some of the guys that I've coached, I've had to tell them like, hey, stop it, slow down. Like some guys wear their heart on their sleeve, but also they know how to get women back to their place, But then it's like, all right, well, so what? You've brought back the girl with the Jägermeister logo tattooed across her tits, and you're just suddenly in love. And then you're surprised when, a week later she ghosts you. It's like, come on, like,
Come on,
stop
dude.
that. Stop.
Yeah.
So I had one client who I had to tell him, I was like,
Yeesh.
listen, you're not allowed to have sex until the third date. Now, I don't care if you're dating multiple women so that you can still get what you need at the same time. You're being, you're not making any commitments to any of them. That's important, right? We want to keep this ethical, but you aren't allowed to have sex with him until you get to that point because he was rushing it too much and getting too invested. So each person is going to be individually different. Each girl is going to be individually different. Each relationship is going to be individually different. Julius has different things that he does if he thinks that somebody is girlfriend material. I have my different way of looking at it, and neither is necessarily right or wrong, but it's just kind of different viewpoints. So you've got a couple of different frameworks there to answer that question of how to look at this thing. Let's move on to question number 2.
Sounds good. What things will make a girl stick around for a second date or ultimately a relationship? It's a continuation.
This question was asked by somebody who did not watch my stream last week. Wow.
Should we
The
answer
worst
it?
part is I actually know that he did watch the stream, but fine, fair enough. We'll answer it. All right. What do you think? What's going to make a girl stick around for a second date and ultimately a relationship?
Well, let's see. I mean, I rarely. Okay, I don't want to brag, but let's see. It's like a second date. Well, obviously, I have to make sure the first date sticks around. So I usually, instead of just playing the long talking game and such, I ASAP make it to where we're gonna meet ASAP.
Yeah.
So I don't waste time. So if it's, say we go out, we hang out on a Friday, right? Say tomorrow, right?
Sure.
And we hang out, things go great. We hold hands, we kiss, whatever. And then we can't stop
Oh,
missing each
you
other.
hold hands?
I'm a romantic. So I tell her, hey, well, what are you doing tomorrow? I have a friend who's coming around. I wanted to go see him, but I'd like for you to meet him or something like that, or just something to where I'll keep her interested in me and the things I could bring to her. So that way, I not only do I not miss a beat with what I'm doing, I keep her completely interested and I keep her in mind for the very near future. So that way, chances of sealing the deal go exponentially higher. And I'm just working off the riding on the coattails of my success of the first date.
Yeah. I think for me, the answer to this comes down to one word, which is desire, right? Does she want to see you more? Does she want to find out more about you? Does she want to see what you're talking about? You mentioned this thing earlier, but then you just jumped right off of it. Hold on. That caught my attention. I want to know more. I'm curious. I want to see more. I'm having fun. I want to be with you more. I'm interested. I want to learn more. It's this desire. And you can create that.
Oh, it's great. It's one of those things where like the desire works well when you just don't reveal too much about yourself, but at the same time you just kind of sprinkle things here and there. And I was actually told by my coworker the other day that I'm like a Matryoshka doll. Those Russian dolls that you keep taking out because they're like, there's always something about you. Like you take it out and there's something interesting and interesting and interesting and interesting. It just keeps going infinitely. I was like,
You're an ogre. Just like onions, they have layers.
yeah. I smell like one too. And I don't shampoo my crotch. But yeah. But yeah, guys, it's
I'm just imagining you with like a car floor mat cleaner, like those scrub brushes.
oh yeah. I mean, you gotta admit, sometimes when you do shampoo it, like it just feels so nice and fluffy and clean. I'm like,
Dude,
man, I gotta do this more often.
I always use shampoo because I don't need very much here. And so like I get my armpits too. I get my chest hair. Like it's silky.
That's gotta keep the missus happy.
When I grew my beard out, by the way, when I grew my beard out, that was the first and only time in my life I've ever used conditioner. Like I would shampoo the bad boy, and then I would use a lot of conditioner, and then I would even put leave-in conditioner so that it smelled nice, it felt soft. Because people were always coming up to me like, they're like, oh, can I feel it? Can I touch your beard? And the way that mine grows naturally, it's very prickly, cactus-like. And so I had to put the conditioner in it, and it was like a cloud.
You should grow that thing back out. That was epic.
Do you know what? Like,
it's getting cold. Might as well.
Of the many things that she lets me get away with, I don't think that one's on the list. That one's on the very short list of we're not fucking having that.
Really? She's no beard?
She doesn't mind the beard, but
Just
no more Bin Laden.
Mountain man.
Right,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
No mountain man. Appalachian beards.
Mountain man.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah, sadly, I am not allowed to Allahu Akbar anymore.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
Well, let's do question 3.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
By the way, I got a complaint from one of my one guy on my marketing team. He's like, a mistake that you're making is that some of your content might be a little polarizing. And I was like, have you fucking talked to me? Of course it is.
Yeah, holy shit, dude. Yeah, come on. We make fun of feminists on a regular basis, at the very least. And that's us toning it down.
This is this is the toned down version, right? Like, but that's part of working with Europeans. Anyway, let's move on to question number 3.
Right. If you're considering turning a girl you're seeing into a girlfriend, how do you screen her?
What, like red flags and green flags?
Yeah, we actually had a podcast on that, an episode, right?
Yeah, we did a whole thing about red flags and green flags.
But
honestly, like, okay, let me answer your question with a link, because if you want to screen out the wrong girls and find the right girls, learn the 14 types. Like, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, and I'm not like dying for sales or anything. It's not like I'm trying to push this so hard for that reason. It's just that, like, it answers all of these questions. Because if you know who the types are and you know what the pros and cons of dating each type of girl are, you know their psychological makeup, you know where to find them, you know what the keys to sealing the deal are, then, like, you've already pre-screened them. Now, there are some things to watch out for, because some of them, like, yeah, what's up, Crow? Welcome to the party, man.
What's up, dude?
Yeah. So there are some of the types that can blend in, right? Like the crazed lover can blend in as one of the other types. She's a bit of a chameleon, but there are some tells to know her, right? If she's a little bit too interested in, like, digging her claws into your circle, she wants to, like, hang out with your friends more and get to know everybody. She starts adding your parents as her Facebook friends, shit like that. Those are some things to watch out for, unless you are trying to attract crazed lovers. The husband hunter, she will try to position herself as a prude or maybe as a shy girl, because she doesn't want you to know that she's a reformed slut or attention whore. But you know what? Like, you know the girls who got the baby rabies, right? Like, you can feel that. That's a big tell for husband hunter. Again, not necessarily a bad thing. Husband hunters can be fine for certain situations, for certain guys. That's fine. The succubus can blend in a lot as well. But again, you can tell, and you might misdiagnose a succubus as a crazed lover, but you can tell because the crazed lover, after something goes wrong, after there's some kind of argument or clash, the crazed lover will like she'll up and down, she'll bring the drama, right? And so will the succubus. But afterwards, if the crazed lover comes back and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry about that. Like, oh, I was just so passionate about it or whatever. But like, you're sorry too, right? Okay, yeah, we can make this better. She wants to make up. She wants to make it better. But the succubus is going to come back and be like, so did you learn your lesson? You know what you did wrong? Like she's all negative all the time, right? So these are some of the red flags to watch out for if you're dealing with one of the more potentially damaging types.
I was just gonna say Marilyn Monroe quotes.
Marilyn Monroe,
live, laugh, love, hates
yeah.
family, has no close friends, things like that. Those are obvious ones.
Yeah, or has friends that are too close, like codependency level, right?
Oh, jeez, yeah.
So that's actually the friend type, and a lot of times those girls use that as a proxy for their family because they don't have a good relationship with their family.
Another major red flag. Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah. Anyone who studied in the West, like in major cities like London, New York City, San Francisco, they're probably hardcore feminists. Just avoid those.
I would watch out for non-naturally occurring hair colors. So I don't mean that they've dyed their hair, but like, look, if they dye their hair from black to brown, or if they dye their hair blonde, or even if they dye their hair red, like Lucille Ball red, right? Then like, okay, choices. I'm fine with
red. Could be nice if it's done really tastefully, like a really nice,
or like highlights or something like that.
Sure.
But whenever they go for non-natural colors, blue, pink, green, purple,
run for the hills.
Yeah, right. Like you're looking at somebody who gets they need attention. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter why they need the attention so much. All that matters is there's a hole in their heart and in their soul that you aren't going to fill. And they're trying to use attention to fill it. And there is no amount of attention that you can give them that's going to fill that. So
nothing. A lot of these girls will have piercings upon piercings upon piercings on parts of the body you would just cry at getting it done, and tons of tattoos. No matter all the work and mods they have on their body, just won't be enough to fill the hole they have that just desires this attention. It's crazy.
All of it is, it's just a cry for attention. Right?
Absolutely.
And
because they ain't getting any at home.
Well, and it might be that, or it might be any number of things. But the reality is that whether they were not hugged enough by their mother as a child, or they were hugged too much by their father as a child, or whatever it is, like, look,
it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, right. Like
whether it's a weight loss, like former fatties,
I'm not mad at them. No, I'm not mad at them. It's just like,
just don't put up with that. It's not worth it ever.
You can't fix them. You don't want a project girl. Do you know what I mean?
We're not
girls will take on project guys, because now again, this is an overgeneralization, because most girls will take on a project guy. Now, the types of girls who are like super career focused, your worker bee types of girls, they won't take on a project guy. Why? Because they have their own projects and goals in what they're doing. That's fine. Most women don't have like serious ambition and project stuff that they're working on and building. Most. Those girls want a project. They want a guy that they can work on, that they can fix, that they can train, that they can domesticate. And like, that's fine. Girls can take on project guys much more often than guys can take on project girls. Again, these are broad generalizations. You have to figure it out for yourself, for depending on who you're trying to date, what you personally view as a red flag against a relationship. But I don't know. These are some of our red flags. Anyway, maybe later on we can find the link, or you can literally just go to my channel and you can just search red flags, because we did a whole hour and a half about it. What's the next question, Big Juju?
Yeah, let's see. Guys on the panel, where have y'all gotten the most girlfriends from? Dating apps, approaches, bars and clubs? Well, I'll speak since you're thinking. For
I'm
me,
counting.
I, on the phone that broke, that one had all my info. I would have just pulled it up, but it's broken, so I have to use my brain for this one. But I will have to go off on a limb and just say I unfortunately have to admit dating apps. But I am a fuckboy that lurks in cyberspace. So
Interdimensional fuckboy.
that's right. That's that's where you're fucking laugh. But that's where I functioned, because I was using this stuff back in my heyday, where Tinder and Bumble and Meef weren't such shitty apps. Now they're horrible. They're horrible. But at the time, you could actually meet women very easily. I was in Central Seoul. It was really no problem for me to do anything.
So the question is throwing me for a loop, right? Because like the most girlfriends, so I'm assuming like where you actually said we're going to have a relationship is what's meant by the question that was submitted. Those have almost all been from in-person meetings, right? Like not from dating apps, and not from bars. Most hookups is, I don't know, flip a coin between bars and apps, right? But again, the apps, when I used them, were already like, I was already seeing like, oh, these are massively psychologically damaging. And that was back before Bumble even existed.
Yeah.
Before Hinge existed, before any of this stuff existed.
Badru or any of that nonsense.
I used Scout back before even Tinder existed. I was a dating app pioneer. I rode the Oregon Trail of dating apps. We had one in Korea back in the day called 1KM that literally the only thing that it did is it showed you everybody with the app installed within 1 kilometer of you.
Oh my God, that's dangerous.
And then you could you can't see their location. You can just see like everybody's profile who's within 1 kilometer of you.
Oh no, I meant dangerous, like, it would end the stream.
Oh, I know. I don't think it still exists, but there was a similar one in China that Rich talked about before that was like built into WeChat. It was like WeChat local or some shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where like you could just see everybody who had the thing within a kilometer of you. You could just message all of them, and so we used that a lot back in the day. But as far as like actually meeting the types of girls I wanted to date, very, very few of them even existed then on the dating apps. And now it's just like, you're not just fishing off the wrong pier, you're fishing into the landfill. It's like, well, I got lucky today. I only caught a boot. right?
Mhm.
Like you're gonna get the fucking
Yeah.
three-eyed fish from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, jeez.
don't,
Yeah, don't go dumpster diving.
but that's 98% of what dating apps are right now.
Oh, yeah.
And if you are watching this stream, that's probably because you are not in the top 10% of men who are getting all of the good ones, right? So let's be entirely realistic here. If I were single today, I would absolutely not be trying to use dating apps to meet women, like for actual relationships. There's just no chance, right? Because why? What benefit does it give you? Now, there may have been a benefit a long time ago when it wasn't the monstrosity that it is now, but whatever possible benefits it once held, it doesn't any longer. At least not really.
No, it's a whole new monster now. It's so heavily monetized and just designed in a way to kind of defeat you while giving you a little taste of
Yeah.
success that you want to spend money to potentially get matches, but I just don't think it's really any good at all.
Well, if you want to know if dating apps are good or not, all you have to do is look at the incentive structure, right? Is there incentive to help you find a good relationship so that you uninstall their app? Obviously not, right? Their incentive structure is we get paid more money if we keep them just on the hook, but don't give them anything good, right? That's it. And then for the top 10%, we flood them so that they give, lots of great testimonials. And because pretty people have followers, like man or woman, it doesn't matter. Pretty people are influencers. And so, like, okay, cool. They give great testimonials and they talk about all their wonderful experiences and whatever else. Like, no, that's the obvious incentive structure. Oh shit! Did our internet die?
No, I'm here.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah. So to answer the question, most of them I've met either in person through approaches or through like social circles or being in the right places, like at language exchanges or dance groups or like I was talking about earlier and figuring out the where. Like
Mhm.
that's most of it. All right, let's move on to the next question. What you got for me, champ?
All right. Last one. What's the most important trait when considering turning a girl into a girlfriend besides looks?
Okay, this is the last one. So, gentlemen, and I think we've had a couple of ladies in here tonight, which is a bit mind-boggling, but okay. Gentlemen and ladies out there, if you have any questions for us, drop them in the comments now while we're answering this so that we can get to them before we wrap up for the night. So, the most important trait for what?
Oh, finding a girlfriend while considering things that aren't just her looks.
Well,
I mean, there's a lot. I mean,
yeah,
being
like
able to have a fucking conversation for one. Yeah, girlfriend. Um, this is where we differ, but I would, I would say, um, shit, whatever's important to you. It all differs. I mean, I say conversation. He shrugs his shoulders. So, uh, I mean, I like in a woman. Let's see things about her. Just make sure she's not American. That's about it. Yeah.
come on, give a little bit more than that. I need to make a quick pit stop. I'll be right
Oh
back.
yeah, no, for sure. Well, I think when it comes to women, I mean, aside from looks, which I think are very important, but not the most important thing in the world, I would say personality. To me, height's not much of a thing. I'm already 184 centimeters, 6 feet ish. So like height doesn't matter. Just don't be taller than me, and that's not usually the case. Um, Let me see. I think she has to be pretty thin or athletic. That's great. I don't mind thicker girls, just don't be fat. Uh, I don't mind hairstyle or hair length. But I think in terms of like if you want to get into like substance of like the woman herself, um, talking to her, one that has a good sense of humor, one that just laughs at all the dumb shit I say, and I say a lot of dumb shit. If you guys can already tell, if she just laughs and enjoys what I have to say, that's great. That's a keeper. I just love a woman who just laughs at what I say and do. If you don't, then I'm just kind of like, all right, well, you're just not a very fun person, I think, because I think I'm a pretty funny guy. So yeah. um, but yeah, I think what I think find more important than just looks wise, unless you're just talking about the face. I mean, also talk about the body, but I think bodies are an imperative. I think to me, height doesn't matter, but just having a good shape, I think, is just really important to me.
Like an hourglass, for example.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course. I mean, I don't just strive for perfection, but hourglasses are pretty nice. You, Jack?
Uh, I this this question is very individual. This is one of the questions that you're going to have to answer for yourself, because Julius can tell you his answer and I can tell you my answer, and it's going to be different than his, and Paul can tell you his answer and it's going to be different from mine, and Rich can tell you his answer and it's going to be different from his, and like we can go all around all day long about this. But for me, some of the most important traits are things like agreeableness, patience, and if I'm being entirely honest, her adoration for me. Like, this is gonna sound really narcissistic, and
Mhm.
I'm okay with that, right? Because I'll be honest about it. It's I'm pretty cool with most any situation. Like, I'm a very easygoing, just go with the flow kind of guy. And so I need a girl who thinks that I am the sun, the moon, and the stars, so that it's easy for her to follow my leadership. If that makes any sense at all. Like, there is a look in a girl's eyes that, to me, like whenever she looks up at me with just this like, wow, that kind of like feeling. And I'm like, all right, you'll do. Because I can make anything happen, and I can make any situation fun, and I can make any situation interesting. But you have to adore me enough to trust me to do those things and be impressed with it every time and enjoy it every time. And that only actually comes from that kind of desire and adoration. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, of course. Yeah, no, a woman who just not only just admires everything about you, but lifts you up and just is your biggest fan. It's just the coolest thing in the world. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
great answer.
And, like that also means that whenever shit doesn't work out well, in her mind, and this is actually a really important thing to the female perspective, because if she sees everything that you do normally as awesome or exceptional or really fucking cool, then whenever things don't go right, because inevitably things will go not according to plan, or things will fuck up, or you'll make mistakes, or whatever else, then she views it as a one-off. She doesn't view it as like, oh, this guy is normal most of the time, and then occasionally he does really cool things, but then also just as often he does stupid things or he fucks things up, right? If she looks at you at like, and I don't mean physically, I mean like interpersonally, if she looks at you as like a 5 normally, where like this is just her standard of yeah, that's just cool enough, it's fine, right? I guess. Then you do some great things every now and then, you do some shitty things every now and then. Like that's not going to work well, right? Because the human brain weighs the negative greater than it weighs the positive, almost always. That's why we're also our own biggest critics, because we weigh our own negatives greater than we weigh our own positives, right? But if she looks at you on average at like an 8 of interest, again, I'm not talking looks, I'm talking about interest, her just fascination and adoration for you. If she's looking at you like an 8, then when you do amazing things, it's a straight up 10, and it's mind blowing, and it's literally the greatest thing ever. And whenever you fuck up, it's a 4. You know, like, and it's like, fine, but we can work with that, right? So to me, that's one of the biggest things that I look for, is that they look up to me almost, right? Again, it's hard to describe because it's not like looking up to somebody like a mentor or like a brother or your parents or anything like that. It's nothing like any of those things. It's just that you move the world for her. And if she has that feeling for you, then you can make any situation work. Wow, what a
Deep.
somber way to end what has just been a wild ride of a live stream. By the way, if you guys are still watching and you haven't done it yet, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button. YouTube loves that shit, you know that. Feed the beast. Feed me, Seymour. Right? Like, give it the thumbs that it likes so much. Doesn't cost you a damn thing. And it helps me and helps the channel grow. And by the way, I want to throw a big shout out thank you to our community, because you guys have been sharing this. You have been hitting the like button. And so our audience is growing. We're getting more and more people every single week. And I'm not even joking. It's literally thanks to every single one of you, because every one of those thumbs up, however many there are, right? Even if it's 2 last week and then it's 3 this week, that's a 50% increase. And every time you do that, that's helping more and more people find this information, find this message, and improve their lives. So if you like doing good things for good people that costs you nothing, then hit the thumbs up button so that you can help some other guys improve their lives as well. Anyway, Julius, any more questions or thoughts before we wrap up for tonight?
No, I just think that we had a pretty good discussion, and I liked the live stream. Learned a lot. Had a few trolls in the thing. You and I, we had a pretty good banter back and forth, disagreeing yet having a good discussion. So,
do you think that Sierra was a troll?
When she asked for that flowchart, she was absolutely a troll. She sent a message saying that you're just a run-of-the-mill casual sexist. So I just kicked her out of the chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
So, yeah, I was like, wait, Sierra's a girl. She's asking about the fuck flowchart. I was like, I'm pretty sure you're just some blue-haired feminist who's not even in Korea right now.
But here's the thing is, and this is actually a fun bit, is that even the negative comments, and even if she does the thumbs down, it still counts as
feeds.
engagement.
Yeah.
And so like let them roll. Let them roll. Whenever they're just rolling, like the only time that I kicked people out was that one time where afterwards I sat down and we were going through the chats live, and I was like, I'm not fucking engaging with you at this point, right? I'm not doing that. But no. Whenever the trolls come, like let them loose. Or do you know what? I wonder. For those of you who are still watching, y'all can help us discuss this in the Discord later. I feel like the best strategic thing to do is to let them run with it for a while, and then after about like 30 minutes or so of them trolling, then boot them so that they get real fucking angry and flustered, and then they tell all their feminist friends to come and watch this shit. Because again, right? Like, look, you're not gonna hurt my feelings.
No. I was in Seoul yesterday, and I saw this girl. She was wearing a messenger bag, of course, a foreigner. Green hair. She had a fox. She had a wolf tail on her messenger bag, and of course she had her phone. Yeah, oh yeah, she's a furry, and she had her phone on. And what does she have? She had Bumble, Tinder, and something else right there. Monty and Nova
Dior. All right, welcome to the party.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Anyway,
sorry. So she has her furry bag on.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like, that's exactly who I imagined in the chat. This is the Sierra character. So I was like, all right, okay. I mean,
he's a furry.
Yeah. I was like, she's a furry I saw yesterday in Starbucks. Of course, I would see that in Starbucks. So
just stop going to Starbucks.
I didn't fucking want to go. I just had to. So I was like, I gotta go.
Well, I understand that.
Sure.
Maybe she was attracted to the live stream by Pak Nana here. Hello, Monty and Nova. Nice to meet you. Do you guys have any questions for us before we sign off for the evening? We're happy to field your questions. So Julius and live stream chat, as is tradition, and while we're waiting on Monty and Nova to come up with their sure to be wonderful question, we get to choose next week's topic. What do you guys think? What should we talk about next week? What should I prepare for us for next week?
Good question. We can figure this out in the Discord.
Yeah, we can figure it out in the Discord, but I don't know. I feel like it's fun to kind of talk about things live. So what's something like today's lesson went way over? Tips for winter dates. That's not bad. Okay.
Winter game.
Yeah. Cold weather game, winter dates. I can jump in on that. It's starting to get cold over here.
Yeah. Temperatures are dropping tomorrow by a lot.
Really? Again?
Yep. Oh yeah. Yesterday, well, today now it's like the last of the warmish days. It's getting cold. It's gonna stay that way.
I'm so disappointed. Man, I had to put away my flip-flops this week. Do you realize how disappointing that is for me? It was like 8 months out of the year.
I actually miss mine. Yeah, it's been a while since I've worn them.
The worst part is that every year, starting in like March, I have to regrow the calluses on my feet. Like because where the thong comes back on both sides, and it's like, okay, well, guess we gotta regrow that bad boy. Oh, my poor callus. I wanted to keep him well trained, but c'est la vie. Yeah, all right, yeah. So how to get hot in the cold? Something like that.
Yeah, basically like that.
I will find a better way to phrase it. All right, so Monty and Nova didn't give us anything yet. I'm Very sad. If you guys are busy typing something, send in half a message now so that we know to wait and really enjoy the fruits of your labor. No? Okay. All right. Anyway, that's where we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight, guys. So, until next week, boys. Papa Jack out. Can you hit the end stream button up top?